everyone, and welcome to another episode of OneMicNite Talk, the podcast that gives you real talk and that will inspire and enhance your daily lives. My name is Marcos Luis. I'm an actor and filmmaker, and I'm here along with my co-host, musician and public health advocate, Stephen Anthony Beasley. What's going on, Stephen? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. I'm having the coffee's kicking in and all is well.
Having a little coffee. How was the week for you?
It was really good. I am on the West Coast, and we got into the airport, and it was immediately different, and that was a really good thing.
How so?
It was just, I don't know. Like, we flew into San Francisco, and San Francisco is a big city, but I instantly recognized that it wasn't New York, and I was like, oh, okay. not that everything wasn't going steady, because it was busy, but it was not in so many directions. So that was cool. That's a cool experience that I've been experiencing this week.
California has a whole different vibe. I haven't been to San Francisco in a long time, but California has such a laid-back vibe. San Francisco has an energy, but it's completely different from New York. New York is always rush. Me first. I got to get, I'm getting mine. San Francisco is not like that. It just has like a more laid back, but, a more approachable feel to it.
So
what do you think?
What's your week been like?
My week, I'd have to say it wasn't as productive as I'd like it to be, but I'm still, trying to do things every day to further along what my goal is. So even though it slowed down a little bit, I have the power to do what I want to do, which is what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah.
So power, I think let's start off by giving a definition for power. So now in physics, it's the amount of energy that's transferred or activated per unit of time. Right? How does that translate into what we do?
Transferring energy
into time.
In units of time. In units of time, did you say?
Of time, yeah. So how much energy we have the power to put the energy into time. And I think that kind of makes our productivity.
Mm-hmm. I like that. Putting energy into your time.
So I know in physics I didn't do so well in physics, but I do know there's a mathematical equation for it. But
I don't think I ever even took physics.
Right. Power, we have the power to take our time, take the energy, and make things happen. Like, how much power are we getting out of the energy that we put in along with our time? That is what our power is. So I guess
one thing that's really rising up for me is this concept of I could evaluate how much energy I've put into various buckets of time so that I can have more perspective about what happened in that time. There's definitely some work days that I haven't put the energy into the time, and then the product wasn't powerful.
Yeah.
That's a great thing to think about.
Right, isn't that good to think about? And I feel like that's what happened to me this week. We have the power to, change, to put more energy into something with our time. And in that way, it increases your power. So in the power in whatever it is you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. So I know that this week I didn't have much time, so I didn't put much energy into it. So I feel like my power for where my goal is going, was a little bit slower this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
But at least you have that perspective. Like, at least you're not running around thinking like, what happened, you know?
Right.
When I think about the energy we can put in time, my mind goes to rest. Like, we can focus our energy on the downtime that we have and turn that into some power for ourselves.
Right.
For how we show up in our non-restful paradigms of our life. So I'm gonna be, what energy am I putting into this time? I'm gonna be asking that question going forward. That's great.
Wow, that's a good one. What kind of energy are you putting in?
What is I putting in this time? What type of energy do I want to put into various blocks of time? What are the components of the energy I want to bring to certain sets of time?
Right.
Yeah. Like what kind of approaches, what kind of ways do I want to show up for various types of work, relationship, home life, time that I get, for myself? How do I want to show up in order to make that time a place that, giving me more power in my life? So that's cool. Okay.
Right. Giving you more power, giving you more authority, giving you more direction, helping you achieve your goals. How do you show up to work every day? How do you show up, like you said, in relationships with your friends? How do you show up just in general? You walk down the street, how are you showing up? Are you open? Are you friendly? Are you receptive? Are you keeping lines of communication open with other people and things around you, and taking in, absorbing things.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of great energy, like in intentions too, like especially with artistic spaces. Like, what am I contributing to this space? How am I going to be listening to other people in this space? How am I going to allow things to be built up in that way? Yeah.
Exactly. I also saw another definition of power in terms of mathematics. This is actually interesting too. It's the number of times that a number should be multiplied by itself. That's power. So what if we took that and we took the things that we do for ourselves and we multiply it by the things that we do for ourselves? Like, we're the numbers. How powerful would that be? Take the things that we do for ourselves, the time and the energy, and we're doing it for ourselves, to help create our own power.
I need an example of that. I'm sorry.
So, it's kind of along what we just said. So every day, if I get up and I have a goal to, say, as an actor, be a TV star. So I get up every day and I send off a headshot. I reach out to a casting director. Or as a musician, I grab a composition and I just keep playing it over and over. Next day, I play another composition, something different on that one, and I play something else the next day. So every time you're multiplying things that you do by yourself, it's creating your own power.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Right? That's something to think about in terms of mathematics.
And it's also something to think about to give that more logical part of your brain a concrete reason why you should continue multiplying yourself by the sort of mechanisms you use to grow in whatever it is that your work or your intention is.
Do you think that everything we do is related to power? Everything in life breaks down to power? Are you related?
No, but I think that power is a component. I think that how powerful one person feels as they're sort of navigating through their life does inform their decisions. It informs how they show up for others, and it informs. It definitely informs whatever it is they produce. You know, how. So there, it isn't. I don't think everything breaks down to power, but I think that power, is a major influence on people's outcomes.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think, though, power is also, the way we receive things. But we have the power to make it a positive thing or make it a negative thing. And then our responses then creates, another outcome. So I think that a lot of things in life, kind of break down to power. It sort of has to do with mind, like mind over matter. Our power is in our mind. It's
a lot of it is, yes. Yeah. So we have multiplying ourselves to create more power in our life, multiplying those things that are forwarding, that can really move things forward, and then that energy that we put into what we are doing.
Right. The ability to control, sort of actually people too, because with our own concept of our power, we can control somebody else's reaction, how they respond to us, and how we receive it again.
I definitely, and I think that if we think about like times, and for me, the times that I feel most powerful is when I definitely think power is linked to discipline and to focus and to structure. And so I feel most powerful when I have sort of manageable systems of discipline and structure in place. And so I think that that's probably the only time that I can ever be a source of power, for myself or for anybody else. If I have this sort of internal systems in place, if I'm multiplying myself in a way that's productive. Then I think
I like that definition, right?
If I'm multiplying myself in a way that is productive and disciplined and structured, and also in that structure has a structure of like rest, then I can be, you
feel powerful. I have to agree.
When I don't have those things in place, I do notice how things fall through the cracks. There's a few things falling through the cracks now in a couple of buckets of work that I have going on, and I know it's because I'm not multiplying myself in that space. These are some professional and also artistic spaces. Like, there are some spaces I am not multiplying myself in, and I am not streamlining the amount of energy I could be putting into time. Like, this discussion is very important for me because
yes.
And although there are forces that are throwing me off that are valid, I still, this conversation for me is very encouraging because it's like, hey, I know all of the things are throwing me off, but I need to press my way to a place where I can put focused energy into time, and I can multiply myself in ways that will move me forward, because I still have those intentions.
Yes.
So that,
And I think, just to add on, just to kind of echo what you said, also, we feel powerful when we have that structure, when we feel like we have control, but we're also getting results from what we do. And the results are creating some sort of increased value for us some way. whether it's financial, whether it's mental, whether it's whatever. But we have a structure in place and it's giving us some sort of value back. So I think that's when we feel the most powerful, because we can toot along at the same level for a long time. And I don't know if that's powerful. We have systems in place, we're comfortable. Powerful is when we actually receive something of value for it, I think.
Yeah, what gets a bad rap?
What?
Comfort. I mean, I know that forces want us to be out of our comfort zone, and fill in the blank happens outside of your comfort zone, and that's cool. But I don't know. I think there's a place. This is a whole other.
Let's dive into this for a minute. I'm right here with you. I'm right here with you. Go for it.
This is a whole other podcast, but I think that I have put some energy into time that involves comfortable spaces. I need to be comfortable. I need to have time and space in my life that is comfortable. And you know what? That takes a lot of power to create as well. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna apologize for using some of my power.
Is it our mentality as Americans, as US citizens, to want more? Or do you think that's a worldwide thing?
I think it's a global thing. I think that all the data shows that Americans are not the most highly functional, highly achieving people on this planet. Lots of data shows that. No, I think that there is this thing where folks recognize that you do thrive outside of your comfort zone, but I feel like maybe a part of being a person that feels rested and centered and safe does need to have spaces that are comfortable.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like just in my world travels, and I haven't been all over the world, but I feel like most of the people around the world feel good in the comfort that they have. Yes, we'd all like to have a Lamborghini, not everybody would, but a lot of people want to have that kind of extreme luxury, but having a comfortable place, knowing you have a home, knowing you have, something to go home to, a family, kids, whatever it takes, a warm bed.
And work thing, and part of comfort for me, and part of and maybe this is me being an underachiever, but part of comfort for me, and also part of power, is having spaces that I feel confident that I can navigate. I'm not the dude that's gonna take on the thing professionally or artistically or in any sort of advocacy space that I'm in. I'm not necessarily going to take on the thing that I feel is never going to be under my thumb, is never going to be something that I can't do with some sort of ease at any point.
Interesting.
Some people do. Some people live for that. And I while I say that, I also understand that life works in a way where things have to be thrust upon you. Whatever. All the thrusting. But the thing is, that's kind of how you have life in the first place. But anyway, but I think that there's I just wanted to introduce the concept that there is some power in having some sort of comfortable space, and that it is okay to put focused energy into creating that time and space for oneself.
I'm right there with you, and we all know I'm very comfortable in my 9 to 5. So it's along with what you just said. There's some comfortability, there's some power in knowing, one, what your paycheck's going to be every week. You don't have to scrap around. It allows you stability to do some other things, You know what I mean? That maybe you do want to take some risks. Maybe you do want to feel a little more powerful outside of that in a different way. But the comfort of one thing definitely feels good. I think that right now we're at a place
thing that you can do, like a thing you know you can do, a
Right.
thing you know you can like handle the ups and downs of.
Right.
A thing that has some sort of routine attached to it. Because honestly, I mean, especially as men, like I think men thrive in routine. There's a comfort in it.
Right.
And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that there are some routines and some constructs that can be like really soul sucking. And sometimes people get comfortable to a point where they forget about like certain dreams and intentions. But, you know, not all the time.
I feel like right now we're at a place where people are sort of moving away from the comfort zone.
Yeah, sure.
To increase, and this is a whole nother episode also, to increase wealth, which means they want to increase the power. So you're moving out of this comfort zone of where you are to take risks, to leave all that stuff behind. People don't want to have a 9-to-5 job anymore. People want to take risks doing something else.
Sure.
And you know, I think that that increases the financial, which increases your power, and you get to call the shots.
Yeah.
We have somebody right now who is kind of a hot topic in media, who is a powerful figure, who, you know, just, I'm not even sure if, like, is now on the downside of it all. You know what I mean? Like, he was put on a pinnacle. You know what I'm talking about.
And we can talk about Mr. West.
Yeah.
And I can do so in a way that doesn't take up all of our space and time. For me, Mr. West is living lyrics from like it may have been like one of his oldest songs. I think it was All Falls Down, like love ourselves, like hate ourselves, love their wealth. Like he embodies that for me. And he's also just he's very rich, he's very powerful, but he's also very sad and very ill, and I think very overwhelmed by like everything that has happened to him and everything that he has been exposed to. And I wish that he would just get into a space of healing and creativity that would work for his wellness. And honestly, he has enough money and power as of now. If he doesn't, I mean, even if he were to lose 50% more, he would still have enough money and enough power and enough autonomy to create a space of healing and creativity for himself. But I think that he's been in some rooms and in some convenings with very powerful people in the world, and it has been insatiable. And
insatiable power.
The power of the rooms that he has been in has been insatiable. But honestly, for me, you know, he was probably only a fly on the wall in those rooms, but he wants to be, you know, one of the pigs in the sloth.
Right, and I would have to say
that's people, not to call you all pigs, but
no,
yeah, that's my thing about Mr. West.
No, I think it has to do not only being in a room with powerful people, but I would have to say that it's his goal, his mission, his journey is to be powerful. So that is what's driving him where he needs to be, you know, on self-help. You know, that needs to be part of his journey as well. We all know what's happened, part of his personal life, but you know, he needs to be on a journey where he's healing himself. You know, we uphold him, we admire his artistic ability, you know, however, does he have the power to say what he wants to say? Is it okay? You know,
he does have the power, and he's saying it. He is saying all the things, and I think that that's not even enough for him. Like, I watched the Netflix documentary, and the way that he was running through the Rockefeller offices, just wanting to be recognized. Like, He is a person who longs to be recognized and upheld and listened to and celebrated.
Right.
And all of that is cool, but there's never a point for him where it's enough.
Yeah.
And then he also, wants to be respected. And honestly, little black boys in this respect thing. I get it, but I just think that we just get so carried away with that. Like, for me, he gives very much 7th grade boy in class who can't control his temper, and somebody stepped on his sneaker and now he's suspended from school for the 16th time. That's the energy it gives for me.
Of course, you're right.
And I just can't. And I mean,
but is that the way of the world right now? You know what I mean? Like, he's an influencer. I don't think that's any different than, like you said, the 7th graders are doing now. Like, that's the way of the world right now. That's the outspoken, non-censored, he
can be uncensored all day long, but it's just like, he's not even uncensored in a way that's in his best interest or in the best interest
right, but I'm saying, isn't that the way of the world? Isn't that kind of the way of what people are doing right now? Take a look at music. There's no censorship in music. Every other word is a swear word, sexual. It's just blatant. People have no censors. It's just what people are doing. They don't have no regard about anyone else's feelings, and this is the role model that people are following. He's not the only one. He just happens to be one of the people who's an influencer in the music and in art world and can do whatever the F he wants, So
so
like that's the whole movement that's happening. Like, it's there. That's the way the whole world is going.
But it's just so unfortunate, because it would be different if he was actually having any fun or happy.
Right.
And that's where I really check out of the whole, like, let's be so epic and great and powerful and wealthy. I'm just like, so few of those folks, the ones that we know, are happy.
Right.
Like, the ones that we don't know, like the wealthy, powerful people that we don't know, like the people who will never be bothered to be in, like, Forbes or on the interwebs or whatever. Like, those people are all set and they're really happy, and they're in, like, Idaho and Wyoming and Utah and lots of other places that don't let in regular people or people with any color or people with less than $500 million. I mean, all of those people are all set.
In a comfortable space. They have a
comfortable, like, it's all these rich and powerful. It's all these rich and powerful people that we do know who are really not that happy. The people who have the real wealth and the real power, they're, like, super all set. And what's so unfortunate for me about Mr. West is that he's been in those rooms, obviously. And so I just don't understand how he couldn't have taken from those rooms the ability to navigate the world in a way, but the ability to navigate the world in a way to get what he wants and acquire what he wants to acquire and influence the way that he wants to influence, and also just not be a total reckless idiot, and also be healthy, because all of the other people that he's in those rooms with are pursuing health. They are not idiots. They're not slandering people in the media. Like, in his latest documentary last week, he was with the Adidas CEO, and they had offended him so much because they had done something nefarious, which we'll call it. They'd done something nefarious in the context of how they were using the products or rolling out the products. And so that was offensive to him. So then he, in this business meeting, I think shows the guy, like, a porn film on his phone. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Like,
come on, man. Right.
That guy, it's still all set and still probably worth more than a few $100 million, and he'll go off into his world and be completely okay, and sit behind like the contracts that were constructed with you. He will sit behind the carefully crafted press release and media that that serves his best interest and everybody that works at Adidas. PR, public relations, is planned reactions. So all of those people will sit behind all of the systems that work for them to acquire the things they want to acquire and influence the way that they want to influence. And then they're going to go off into their personal lives and even live their public lives and be healthy and happy. And right. Mr. West will continue to lose hundreds of millions and billions of dollars and scar these babies and get on Kimmy's nerves.
So and, I think maybe in his mind he thinks he's more powerful. One being the talent, but but allowing himself the freedom to say whatever he wants to say. So maybe in his mind it's a little bit more askew, because when you have problems, and it's obviously it's not clinically proven. I'm just saying that I feel like
he was clinically diagnosed.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
You don't know, maybe you don't know what you're doing, and what effects you have on people.
I don't believe that for a second. I just think that there's such a fervor inside of him to be respected and upheld and uplifted. I mean, it's giving very much mid-20th century oligarch Eastern European rulers. Like, to me,
I don't know about
it's giving that. Like, it's giving the same. I mean, honestly, Mr. West and Donald have a lot in common. Like, all those guys, it's like, it's not enough, again, to move about the world in a way where you acquire the possessions and the power and all of the things without being a total reckless idiot. It's because there's something inside of you that wants to, one, create chaos, and two, be upheld like a god because of your reckless, idiotic behavior. I mean, we see this time and time again throughout history, but the thing about Mr. West that's unfortunate is that he was never elected to anything, and that he is not, again, he's not actually one of the people in these rooms that he's been inside of for probably 15 or 20 years. He's not actually one of those folks. He's like a special guest star on that sitcom.
Right, and he's also the talent. He's the one that they're making money on. So
he's the talent.
He takes the liberty to do what he wants to do. And like he said, Adidas won't drop me, but they did. You know what I mean? Like, you're taking liberties to do things and make decisions, but you're not the one who's actually in control of those things. So this is what I'm asking too. Like, what is his intention? We know what Donald Trump's intentions are, but do we know what his intention is? He's got the White Lives Matter t-shirt on next to Candace.
I thought that was
what is he doing? Is he in support of the culture, or is he trying to do something else? We don't know what
he's trying to be. The culture. He said in his documentary, he said, "I'm the king of culture. I'm the king of culture." That's what
he's trying to create his own culture. Is that what it is?
Well, there's supposed to be some ecosystem, but okay, stay tuned for that. But I don't really think you have the financial infrastructure for that at this point. But anyway, well, maybe Elon will fund it. Who knows? But anywho, yeah, I don't want to lose.
So power can be the demise of you. Also, it's your demise.
I mean, you can use your. Oh, let's go back to the definition, sir.
Yeah.
You can use the energy that you put into units of time and multiply yourself in a way to create a power that can destroy your life and the life of everybody you care about and everybody around you. 112%. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And I think that he'll do it. He'll do it to himself. He'll do it to himself to a point. But I also think that he's too vain to do it to the extreme of where he's less than, to where he's worth less than $300 or $400 million. Like there's absolutely a cutoff. He's listening. No. He's not going to do it to the point of losing everything, but he's going to do it to an extreme, that is worth the risk for him. Yeah. And then also, he's not going to destroy the people that he cares about, because listen, let me tell you, it's not popular and people can say what they want to say, but there is no way that Kimberly Noel Kardashian or Kris Jenner is going to let him destroy those children's lives.
Right.
Never in a million years. Don't go against the family. And I'm just kidding. Let me stop.
No, it's true.
I love
that's
him.
Real. That's power. That's power.
That's power.
That's power.
Like, that's power.
Absolutely
and
power.
And I'm not supposed to love them the way I do. I don't care. But I do have love for Mr. West, but it's just like, dude, you were never elected to public office, and you are not actually one of the people from the rooms that you've been in. I'm sure that he's been to all of those secret convenings around the world of like the 200 or 300 people that actually make all the decisions on this dirty wet ball that we're spinning on right now. And but you, boo-boo, you had a guest pass. You're not one of those.
You're not one of those people. But he did try to run for office, though. He did try to run for office.
Yeah, he did try to run for office. Yeah, but again, he was not elected. He was not elected. And boo-boo, you are the +1 at those gatherings. Yeah. And I think that, like, for somebody like me, in my, I am a person. Me and Mr. West is the exact same age. I grew up in the 80s, and I had huge egotistical, grand aspirations of like what I wanted to do on this planet, because I was influenced by like the media and the glitz and the gloss of like, shows like Dynasty, like I was influenced by like basketball players and singers, and actors and entertainers and politicians making millions and billions and billions of dollars. And, and then like, when we go to the 90s, like rap about like, having big homes and cars and ruling the world and all this stuff. And so I understand that like puffed up place that he comes from. But then as I, somewhere around like my mid to late 20s, when I realized how, who I actually was and what my level of talent and ability was, and how important I've been since the 11th of May, 1980, when I was born, like as is, like when I became flesh in the world and started breathing air. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry, I'm a little congested. But when I started breathing air, when I found out my inherent worth, aside from anything that I produce or become or acquire or am attached to, when I found out those things, and then when I found out that folks that acquire all of the power and the money and the things and the influence and affluence, how that doesn't always mean that they're happy and healthy.
Right.
I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Right, which goes back to what I was saying earlier too. Are we at a different place in the world? Because we see in the last few years, ruthless people like Trump, people are coming out of the woodwork who are powerful, saying negative things about other cultures, other countries, and doing those things. We're at a whole different place of where power is and what's shifting. So he's just one example of the many people who are out there. And I feel like the people who are people who are watching him, because he is an influencer in music and culture, people are now changing their minds about what they want to say and what they do, and they're following along with it. So we're in a completely different world. I grew up the same way with you. You see singers and musicians, and you say, yeah, these people are powerful. They have great lives. I want to be going on this path, with them. But I see people like him, and that's not where I'm going. So how do we use
it's Marcos, I just wonder when everybody got so damn crazy.
That's right.
And I also am just so grateful to have the perspective that all of these folks who got everything they wanted and more, how few of them are actually like whole and happy and healthy and value like their actual body and their life experience outside of anything that they have acquired or produced or are attached to. And I just hope that like more folks start to really get that. I honestly felt like I started to look at younger folks, like folks maybe a generation behind us a few years ago, and thought that like, maybe they get it. Maybe they're gonna get that. Maybe they get it. But then, like you said, like the last maybe between 5 and 10 years, all of that's shifted again. And I don't think anybody gets that. You know, I think a growing number of people do. Like, just
I think maybe the generation behind them will, because we just went through a 3-year pandemic, 2.5-year pandemic.
Yeah.
You know, so the compassion and empathy that people will have coming out of that is going to be different than what the last generation had, or the generation. You know, I feel like that's where we're going.
Yeah, but speaking of power, the economic structure of most of this dirty ball has now shifted to the place where these babies, and when I say these babies, I mean folks 25 and under, like the economics and the social constructs and the education systems and everything have shifted in a way where these babies aren't going to be able to like have a young adult life in an autonomous way where they can explore the world. Like, I see, and you see this in the major cities and even in like random podunk America places too, like folks are having, I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's building stronger families or something, but like, I feel so sad for these babies that they can't move about the world in a way that's autonomous. And a lot of that for me, because I got to experience it, was living on my own.
Right. Yeah.
You know, like navigating whatever education system you want to, or training that you want to, and getting like independent living skills, and also being in an environment of your own choice where you can experience diverse cultures and perspectives. And I feel like the socioeconomic environment of this country especially, but also in the world, is leaning toward this way where these babies don't get to really live in like full power, where they can like
life in fullness.
Yeah, it's not full to me. It's not like that. What they get to, how they have to navigate the world. I mean, but who's to say? Maybe I'm just holding on to like ideals of like mid to late 20th century constructs. But like these babies, to me, they don't have no, even if they are like making some app that like changes the world, that are like get 600 million TikTok followers and they become millionaires by the time they're 20. Even still, to me, these babies just, they aren't living like life.
Right, but it's a new way of living. It's, you know, this is our old traditional ways. And living life has come to mean something different. You know,
it does.
Generation people. Look at what happened, you know, from our parents in the, 50, or, grandparents in the 50s. You know, look how they live versus how we live now. It's completely different.
But for me, some of them lived. I mean, even the ones that had it really rough, they still just went out in the world, if they were brave enough, because it was hard. If they were brave enough, they went out into the world and did whatever the F they wanted to do. And maybe they paid some really harsh consequences, especially
I was
women.
just gonna say, maybe yes and no.
Especially women, because my grandmother did whatever she felt like she needed to do for her and lived in the way that she saw fit. And yeah, there were some consequences, but like I said,
this is a whole nother. We want to talk about that on another episode too.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
I feel like
I don't want to cut you off, but let's talk about this really quick, and then we got to get out of here because
we do.
How do we show up and use our power to enhance our lives?
Mm-hmm.
What's our?
I'm taking it back to the wisdom that you offered me, the simple, beautiful wisdom. We can increase our power and how we show up and how we work with others and help others and ourselves by getting intentional about what type of energy we are putting into our time and what ways we are multiplying the most impactful, most forwarding parts of ourselves to move ourselves forward and to grow.
Absolutely.
And so I'm walking away with that.
That was good, right? That's a good one.
Yeah, I need to focus. I need to get intentional, and I need to multiply some things that I really want to. I need to multiply my artistic disciplines. I need to multiply my meditation. I need to multiply my list making for my professional, ventures, so that shit ain't all loose, because there's a couple of things professionally that are loose for me. There's a couple of things artistically that are more loose than they should be, and in that focused energy of time portion, with my wife and my children, and in my other personal relationships, how, what kind of energy, what kind of positive energy am I putting into that time to make that time well spent.
Absolutely. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to leave them with the same exact echo that you just said. We want a number of times that we multiply ourselves by ourselves with our intention. That's our power. You know what I mean? It's powerful to take yourself, and whatever your intention is to keep doing it for yourself. And hopefully
I know you will.
A good way to help other people.
You be doing some things.
I'll be doing some things.
Some self-discipline, some well-intentioned, very self-disciplined, but also you do that thing, and then you're also very gentle with yourself, and just with honesty. That's what I love. I love the discipline that you display, and I love the discipline you display, the consistency you display, then also the gentleness that you display with yourself and with others. But then after that gentleness, there's something in you that there's this tenacity that you're gonna just keep going. And now I know that you multiplying the most positive parts of yourself to grow. So now I know you got you a little better. Now I know you better. 15 years into this thing, now I know you better.
That's right. So listen, everybody, we hope you got some sort of value out of this, and please let us know, how are you powerful? What makes you powerful? Drop us a line. Make sure you share this episode, comment down below in the comment section. Stephan, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Hey, so you can Google Stephan Anthony Beasley. You can look at about 15 years of performances on YouTube. You can hear an 11-month-old crying very loudly. But you can also follow me on Instagram. I don't know if Zoom can block that out. It is loud in here. But no, Stephan Anthony Beasley on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and you can go to StephanAnthonyBeasley.com to find out how to work with me, either in the realm of public health or in music.
Definitely make sure you follow him. He's an incredible musician. You can also find some of his videos on the OneMicNite channel, YouTube. Follow the show at OneMicNite. OneMicNite is spelled ONEMICNITE. OneMicNite Talk. Use the hashtag. Let us know what you think. You can follow me at Marcos Luis, MarcosLuis. And if you'd like to, please go to the page at anchor.fm/OneMicNite. And you can show us a little love there too if you want. Let us know what you think about this episode. We appreciate you and hope you got some kind of value out of this episode. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on OneMicNite Talk. We're out.